Laporte, quick ball in. Silva will get this across. It's hit on the volley by Leroy Sané.
Gabriel Jesus, and that's it. This time it is it. David Silva curled in the penalty area. There it is. There's the opener.
Kick towards the back post, and this time City convert. Gabriel Jesus. Lovely ball, Jesus, and still brilliant goal. Absolutely stunning goal from Gabriel Jesus.
Only 10 days ago, we headed into Liverpool to produce one of the best away performances in recent seasons, taking 3 points in the champions' backyard to leave us top of the table. We now find ourselves down the East Lancs again to play Everton, with their own top 4 aspirations, a world-class manager and a side littered with game changers. This trip to Liverpool could be our toughest yet. Good evening and welcome to We're Not Really Here. I'm Natalie Pike, and on a night like this, you need leaders by your side. So I went through the phone book, looked at all the legends and called Andy Morrison, and then nobody else was available, so we've also got Michael Brown on the sofa to help us tonight. Good evening, gents. Michael, how are you, love?
I'm in shock. I can't believe you've just done that to me, Natalie. I'll get you back. It's going to be a long evening, Andy. I'll get her, don't worry. She's been waiting a long time to get me. I'm great, thank you very much. Looking forward to the game, and hopefully Manchester City on great form, clean sheets and great performances. Now a gap at the top of the Premier League as well, and could it be even more with this game in hand we've been waiting to see. So yeah, it's been fantastic watching City of late.
Yeah, and we did a game together in December, Andy, the West Brom game here. We did the We're Not Really Here show when we had that 1-1 draw. And I'll never forget, I said to you after the game, "Oh, Andy, we're not going to win the league now. I can't believe it." And you looked at me and you were like, "No, Natalie, no, we're still in." You always knew.
Well, I don't know if I knew. I felt there was always, the season was strange. There was results were coming along and performances that didn't add up at the time. And I felt that no team looked like they were stepping up and standing out as the outstanding team. And obviously, at that point, the run hadn't started, but it's grown gradually. And each performance now, the expectation is there, which is great when you expect your team to go out and win a game of football. And it certainly wasn't like that at the start of this run. So, yeah, excited and a great place to be as a Manchester City fan. And, as you just said, a leader, which is very pleasing. Thanks.
Yes, leaders everywhere. Right, we're going to go straight now into our team news. We know you're all dying to know who is playing tonight, and perhaps more importantly as well, who is made the subs bench. So let's have a little look now for this evening's team news. So our starting 11 for tonight's game is in goal, Edison. And then we have a back 4 of Walker, Diaz, Laporte and Cancelo. And then moving on to midfield, we've got Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and then up front, Raheem Sterling, who is the captain tonight, Riyad Mahrez and Gabriel Jesus. And Gabriel Jesus will be aiming to score tonight to top an incredible stat off to become the first player to score in 6 consecutive league games against Everton. He's had 7 goals in his last 5 games against Everton. So that's 3 changes to the starting 11 tonight. Now your subs, and this is really interesting. So on the subs bench tonight, we have Stefan, Stones, Sergio Aguero, Zinchenko. Then you see that name. It is Kevin De Bruyne makes the subs bench for tonight, and a very welcome return to him. And then Torres, Mendy, Fernandinho and Garcia. So that is our team news for this evening. So gents, first of all, generally wouldn't jump straight into the subs bench, but Michael, how amazing is that to see Kevin De Bruyne back? I was not expecting to see him back so quickly.
I fancied him to be in because I'd seen Pep Guardiola said there was an opportunity for selecting Kevin De Bruyne. I think when he comes out and says he's available, you've got to get him there, haven't you? If I'm Everton and looking across and thinking he's sat there at any point in the game, and Andy will tell you when there's a real superstar on the bench, you're almost, well, there's a few for Manchester City, which is great, but Kevin De Bruyne's form and what he brings to this side, he's a phenomenal player. I personally love watching him play for what he can bring both ways, going up and back, and how he delivers the crosses. I mean, Andy, it must be a defender's nightmare when Kevin De Bruyne can just put the ball in like he does in those areas.
Yeah, we're every time we come in, we seem to speak about him, and that peripheral vision that he has. It's like he stood in the stand. We see it from a stand. He's seen it on the pitch, and it's a unique talent. And the range of passing, the crosses he puts in early, it'd be a striker's dream. I spoke with Sean the last time we were in, and he spoke about, I've been able to play with a player like that. Would have been a dream of his, because you make the runs and the ball's coming in, and it's just great to see him back. With the running, ease him back in. And it's a great name to see when these games start toughening up now.
And Sergio Aguero, of course, on the bench as well. If you're Everton and you're the teams that are second, third, fourth in the league with aspirations of maybe attempting to catch us, and you see Sergio Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne, easily two of the greatest ever Premier League players, coming back to fitness, getting themselves back onto the bench, you've got to be thinking, oh, come on, give us a break.
I think when they change in the match, when you maybe get to 65 and you've had a tough afternoon as a defender, and then you change to that. Again, it's the strength. It's the strength you want. It's a reflection of the squad depth and the quality that we can call on. And all this season, I know a lot of other clubs have moaned about not having their best players available, but we've had long periods where we've had our best players missing, and we've found a way to get results, and that's the key. And it's great to see those names. It's great to see the bench, and know that we'll be able to freshen things up going forward, but not taking our eye off this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at starting 11 for tonight's game, if we start there in defence, Michael, different back four tonight. Obviously, you've got Cancelo, we're going to guess, playing out there on the left, Zinchenko, who's having a great season, dropping to the bench there. What do you think about that back four tonight?
I think it's a great back four. I think, me personally, that would be the back four I would say would be right up there with the top. John Stones has done remarkably well, but at full-back, Kyle Walker, Cancelo has been incredible of late on both sides. So naturally, I think they're comfortable with that. So to go and play. And Aymeric Laporte getting more minutes. Obviously, he's missed a chunk of games. We would have said he would have been the mainstay of the game, of all of the games. But ultimately, Diaz, Stones have come into being a real force together. So, yeah, that's a really, really good back four against an Everton side who can really put pressure on you. So I'm really pleased with that side. We can talk about individuals, we can talk about the substitute benches, etc. But haven't City been a team of late? They've been a real team, everybody working in the right direction, and that's what's impressed me. We talk about players missing, but what team performances we've had recently, clean sheets, real organisation and real patience.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear them talking a lot in their post-match interviews about contribution, how they're all contributing as a team, and I always love that as well. In terms of the defenders there, Andy, we are really blessed this season that we have an incredible squad depth, and we've got world-class players that are covering world-class players. Have you got a preferred back four yet, do you think, or are you looking forward to seeing how Diaz and Laporte play together tonight?
I'm a big fan of Stones, and I have been for a few seasons, and I always said that when he got the run of games, terrible time with injuries, out for 6 weeks, back out, and it's very difficult to play at your very best unless you get a period, and we've seen that now, and it doesn't surprise me that it coincides with his best period that he's had at the football club. With Cancelo, I love the way the manager, he starts off. When we lose possession, if he can't affect the first press, he drops back into the right-back position. How that does it from the left will probably be similar, because in possession of the ball, he creates a two-man screen, where normally it'll be Rodri down with two up. He creates a two-man screen, so we've almost got a box four in there when we're in possession of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he does it from the left side rather than the right side. When he steps into that midfield, you then got three outstanding athletes in Kyle Walker, in Diaz, and Laporte. They're able to look after the channels, and it's exciting. But for me, I like things that are similar week in, week out, and Stones has been in there, and I'm sure he's just having a little rest now.
Natalie's done you that. He's gone right round the houses there. Come on. Which is your favourite parent? I shouldn't do this to you. How difficult is it, Andy, though? Do you know, I'm looking, and you're asking me the question as well, and saying, who do you pick? Who's your best two in centre-backs? And, you know, they have great attributes, don't they? So, do you have a preferred two, though?
They drip into a three, and like I say, in possession, it becomes a back three almost. And the balance with Laporte with his left foot is great. And that, again, has given us a different dimension with him on the left.
John Stones has given him a huge problem, hasn't it? Do you know, it's a nice problem. It's brilliant because you'd have said the balance would have been brilliant from Diaz and Laporte. Yeah. But to say name two, it's difficult. I don't want to do it.
Don't then. I'm going to give you that. We don't need to. We're blessed that we've got 3 world-class centre-backs, and we'll leave it at that. We talk a lot about the Cancelo positioning then. I found it really interesting to hear you talk about it, Andy. We've said this season a lot about how he's almost created this position, like you say, how he moves into midfield and the back four shifts along into that sort of back three. Yeah. Do you think that is something that we're going to start seeing wider across football, or do you think it's very specific to his skill set and the way we play as a team?
I look at it, obviously, managing and coaching, and I'm such an interest in it. I've looked at it in real depth at what we've done, and there's such in-depth knowledge on every team and every movement and the patterns that City play with, and we need to find something different to create something different further up the pitch. You know, for many seasons now, it's been a clear 4-3-3. And again, the opposition will find ways of stifling that and push us into areas where we don't want to go, where it's least effect. With the way the extra player coming into midfield for the press, and not just that, what he brings actually in possession of the ball. It's impressed me so much this year. Some of his range of passing, his ability to receive the ball. I don't think he receives the ball really well back to play, but I think when the ball's in front of him, I think he's excellent. And definitely, I think teams will start looking at this, because it's, again, you've got to have the balance, and I think the left foot of Laporte has really now just showed us that we've got that excellent three. If we miss the first press, then he drops back into his pocket, and then we recover from there. It's inventive, and again, it's Pep. I guess, you know, maybe one of the flip sides of, I mean, for me, the best manager in world football, to be able to see something and change it and cause teams a problem again.
It's so great to watch. I just loved watching us this season. I'm going to throw you the difficult question now. So we've got no Gundogan tonight, obviously, because he's injured, and he's been the player of the season, the Premier League player of the year so far. Then you've got Kevin De Bruyne on the bench getting fit again. What's your preferred midfield?
Thank you very much. It's coming right at me this evening, isn't it? You know, I've got huge respect for Rodri. Fernandinho's done it for years, that holding midfield player. Everybody doesn't give it the credit it deserves. It's starting to get a little bit more recognised. Pep at the start of the season put 2 of them there to try and just protect the back four. Now he's got a little bit more advanced. We've seen Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan is a great 3. Fernandinho still's got some great contributions, so I'm not going to commit to just 3. You know way I'm going to do that. Phil Foden, long term, for me, with protection behind him, will be able to get advanced and be in better areas to affect the game through the middle. He's done amazing learning his trade, still going in wide areas and drifting in and out and getting goals. But I do see him long term being of one of those players in front of that holding midfield player, where he can go and get forward, create and really drive through. He's got great vision. And we talk about players receiving it on the half turn, but he's amazing at it. To have that sort of ability to see what's behind him and being able to turn out situations. So I've mentioned a few.
I like it. Well done. Well done then. I notice Andy's not making you either, like you did. So tonight's game, Everton, it always makes me feel a little bit nervous, even though we're on this incredible run of form at the minute. There's something about Goodison that always makes me a little bit hesitant. Gents, I'm going to presume you've both played at Goodison. How is it as a player going there? What's it like?
It's one of the old stadiums. It's small, tight. The atmosphere is incredible. It's always been, from the moment you arrived, I mean, Liverpool fans are the same. From the moment they make you feel uncomfy, you know, the coach journey in is very loud, and, you know, and they're looking to get a reaction from you. Getting off the coach, you can hear the fans, and then going in, and it's just an old style stadium, and I loved playing there. I played there twice, and, yeah, it's... the atmosphere is fantastic. It'll be different tonight. As you know, we've become used to that over the last few months. But for me, a stadium such as that, your West Hams in the old days, they were the ones I really enjoyed.
It's a great stadium, Everton. I love playing there. I love going there now, and the supporters are right on top of you. I know we're not seeing that now, but we're asking, what it's normally like at Goodison Park. And when they're right on top of you, they're literally there and got that little bit of banter, that little bit of cheek, and they're giving you some serious stick. And even going pitch side now with media, which I've had the pleasure to do, it's just so funny. And it's the pressure that really comes on you when you've got that sort of surroundings. Nothing worse than when you're warming up. When you're getting along the line and literally they can give you it. So it's great fun. But if you've got a bit of character back, the supporters want to engage a bit with you and have that little bit of fun. And I'd say there it really is. And it's just a proper stadium. I know we want that. We want new stadiums. We want all amazing. But I think it's got a true atmosphere. It's a great place to play football.
Of course, they've had plans approved this week for a new Riverside or whatever the front waterfront stadium as well, but there is something about the old grounds. What is it for you, Andy, that used to make an away day particularly tough? Is it like Michael said and you said, when the fans are right on top of you, when it's quite enclosed, and like you say, when you go to Goodison, same as Anfield, you're going down the windy roads like we had it at Main Road. So was there anything particular that stood out for you for tough away games?
I think you look at them, and it's the identity of the stadium and the history of the club as well. Your West Hams, Ipswich, is another one that comes to mind for me. Where they're on top of you, and you knew that you were going to not intimidate, because as a footballer you were never felt intimidated, but you know that every mistake you make will be jumped on. And but I think all the top teams now are moving on. You're saying Everton, will go to a new stadium, and every club has, and that's just evolution. It's part of football. Where we look back to Main Road and the memories from that, but we now have an incredible stadium. When in the next generations come, they'll talk about this stadium in the same way the older fans spoke about Main Road. And I think that's just the passage of time, and we all have a connection with those old stadiums, and the Everton fans will especially. There is
a couple of examples of stadiums, and it's not just, I think there's the supporter angle of the pressure that you get put on, and going to Millwall was as fearful as it used to get. I mean, literally, let me tell you, it was you could hear things hitting the coach constantly as you're going in lines of the street and putting pressure on you. But as well, you fear going to a stadium where you're going to be under pressure. You're not going to have the ball. Well, I think this Manchester City side now, I think they've been there, seen it. Champions League, where they're going to all these teams where there's full riot police everywhere, away in Europe. So you see all these sort of environments. But now this City side, they take it on. They understand there's a bit of pressure, and they go and say, the pressure is, let's have the ball. We'll create it, the whole environment, what we're going to come up against.
Did you have a team, like a number one team, a number one ground that you didn't like going to, that you thought, I don't want to go there?
I think sometimes the more stick I got for being a little bit naughty, then I think I'd enjoy my day more. So it drives you on. I mean, it's brilliant going to away stadiums, and you want fans to be fair. A little bit of pressure, a little bit of banter is what we all want. There's less of that now, but we've got to enjoy football. Now we're missing it, and supporters have been starting to realise what it's all about. And it's not just criticising from the stands; it's getting some sort of support behind your team, but in the right way. We want to see it in the right way. We want to see that banter. We want to see that enjoyment, and I think that's what everybody's missing. Did you have a ground, Andy?
I played at West Ham, and I had a running battle with John Hartson, and it got quite. It was intense, and I came off with 10 minutes to go, and I was told to cool down. So I was running down the side of the pitch trying to cool down, and I've never taken so much abuse. But I enjoyed it. It was fine. It was football, and they're actually within touching distance of you, being able to touch you, and you can hear every comment, and it was great. And they had a fantastic. Very vociferous bunch of fans down there, and that stood out for me really. West Ham, I thought it was the most intimidating stadium that I played in.
I've always loved going to Goodison as a fan as well. It's a great stadium to go to, as long as you don't end up sat behind a pillar, which they have there still. Whenever we play Everton, I'm nervous. Now, I've got some stats for you. I'm going to give you these stats, and I'm going to still feel nervous, and I'm hoping that you guys will make me feel less nervous. So, Everton have lost 5 successive matches against us. Their longest sequence of defeats in 121 years of top-flight football. We've won the past 3 Premier League visits to Goodison Park with an aggregate score of 8-2. And Everton's most recent win at home against us was January 2017, and it's one of only 2 victories in their last 16 meetings against us. We're top of the league. I've got all those stats, but yeah, I still feel a bit nervous, Andy. Why?
I think there's an element of supporting City over the years. You probably expect the unexpected at times. You look at the results that Everton have and the performances where they looked like a top 4 outfit, and then they turn up and Fulham turn them over, and that's what you don't know what to expect from them. And I think it's just natural for us. I don't think we'd ever get that way where we go into a game and we're that confident that we can sit back, because so many times football, bites you on the bum when you behave in that way. So, no, it's you just give us the stats. We've got nothing to worry about now. Just stay calm.
I trust Andy after what he said to me after the West Brom game. What have you made of Everton this season, Michael?
Well, they've sort of showed promise early on in the season, touching the top of the league, thinking, is this the year? I think you've got the respect, don't you? Ancelotti in charge of any side, you think you've got a chance. They've spent bundles of money over the last couple of seasons. They're still improving, still trying to get somewhere. We've seen real strength added in the midfield areas. Still that little bit of sprinkle. Defensively, probably unsure. They're sort of going from a back 3 to a back 4, losing home games to, no disrespect to my former club Fulham, when you're trying to get into that top 4, has been a real difficult one for them. So, listen, they've seen some promise, seen some experience, missing Calvert-Lewin, who's been one of the ones at the top of the pitch. They've added Josh King, who can come on, but he still hasn't started him, so he's never got a better opportunity to do that when you sign a new player. So experience is there. They've got some real work ethic, as you would expect from an Everton side. But what will they do this evening against the Man City side? Will we see a different change again to this back 3? Yeremina, Keane, Holgate, he's got the options, and Godfrey's been a fantastic signing for them. You probably wouldn't have expected him to play as much as he has, but Ben Godfrey's been a real plus point for them.
Do you think, like when you look at the team and you look at them over this season, that there's a clear identity of what Everton do? Ancelotti over the years at teams, but we know what Pep's pattern is. We know what Sam Allardyce's pattern of play is, and we know what to expect. But I don't know what Everton's clear identity is. Do they press? Do they look after the ball? Are they looking to start movements from the keeper? I'm not sure what they do, and I don't think they do.
Now, I understand that point as well, and with that manager with the experience, and I've talked about the strength in depth, strengthening over a period of time, the manager has his beliefs of how he wants to play. He's probably got 1 or 2 ways of way you can go about things, but you're then limited to the personnel that he's got. There's been such bad recruitment at Everton for such a long period of time. It's going to take him a couple of windows, and I think he's a really, really the man for the job, and we should start to see more identity. I would agree with you there with him talking about the changes in the formations that he keeps making, but he can't keep everyone fit at the moment.
No.
Do you think they could get the top 4 this season, Andy, or if not, what's stopping them?
To be blunt, I'd say no. I don't think they'll make the top 4 now, and I think just the lack of consistency that we've seen over the last month in the results. And again, I don't see going into the game tonight. I'll be looking for a clear pattern of what they're. It looks to me as if it's off the cuff a little bit, and I don't think you can get into the top 4 playing the way they do. And even yes. Michael said, we've talked about the manager's experience. You still need the personnel. You still need the quality. And I don't think it's there at the minute. Yes, they might, in a couple of windows, be stronger. What they've got at this moment in time, I don't see them making the top 4.
It's really, really interesting because they just are so inconsistent, like you say, that result against Fulham, but then they've had some incredible results and they've got some incredible talent as well. Now, Andy has definitely made me feel a bit better and Michael's made me feel a bit better, calmed my nerves there a little bit as well. Now we're going to see what Riyad Mahrez, starting tonight, Algeria, go wild. Let's see what he had to say a little bit earlier.
Riyad, you were part of a title-winning team a couple of years ago, but how do you sum up the run of form, the quality being shown by the side right now?
No, to be fair, it's been a very good momentum. We're not losing since more than 15 games. So obviously it's a good thing, but we have to not get carried away and try to keep the same mentality, same play as usual. Even when we wasn't having like a run of winning games, we were playing good, but sometimes it's just about little details and confidence, and then it makes a difference.
You've obviously had a very good record defensively, a lot of players scoring, contributing in attack. But what is the one quality you feel you've captured most of all that's helped you on this run?
I wouldn't say there's one quality. I think, like you said, we don't concede a lot. We've been struggling a bit for a while to score goals. Now we've been scoring goals like every game, and everyone's contributing to score goals. I think it's just like the confidence, when you start winning and not conceding a lot of chances and not conceding a lot of goals, the confidence grows up, and the team, the squad improve, and everyone is at his best.
Everton have had some odd results this season. They've done well away from home against better teams. Here, against lesser teams, they've struggled. How do you view your challenge here tonight? No,
I think it will be a tough game, and we just have to expect the best of Everton tonight. It will be a very tough game. They are very good players, and it'll be an interesting game. Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So that was the thoughts ahead of tonight's game of Riyad Mahrez, who starts tonight. Andy, how do you think Riyad has been doing this season so far?
We spoke earlier in about 3 games ago. We spoke about Mahrez, and I said I was a big fan of his. He excites me when he gets in one-on-one situations. Yes, people will say show him onto his right foot, but he has an incredible ability to just disguise his movement, and it's the best I've ever seen, who actually showing you the ball to shoot and then pulling it back across. So when he gets in there, he excites me. I think in the round the box, I think one-on-one when he faces you, I think he's the best at the club. We've seen it so many times. So in the last game against the West Brom away, where it almost looks like it's game over when he squares you up. He dropped his shoulder, he bought it, came inside, bang, top corner.
And do you know when he's doing that though? Do you know, for me, do you know when you're saying he's the best at it? He's fantastic in Pep's style. It doesn't always allow him to do it. Do you know, you have to build up. He comes back inside, just rotate it, he moves it across the pitch, and then it's a little bit more patient. Do you feel like he would want to get more pushing his full back into the box and try and drive him back? Because that's what you're trying to do, that, aren't you? To give him those one-on-ones. And sometimes I'm sat there going,
I know. I totally agree with what you're saying, Michael. And the big thing for me is the formation that we play against. If we play against a back four, the opportunities that he gets on the one-on-ones are a lot more evident than a back five. A back five, he seems to have a player in his face as soon as he receives the ball. So the ball has to be moved more to create an opening somewhere else on the pitch. For me, West Brom went with the back four, and the one where he ripped the player was where the left back narrowed in too much. They got the ball, and Jesus clipped the ball over to him. He had the chance then. I think against a back five, he's not quite as prolific as he is against a back four. But then, looking at Pep, he has different ways of creating.
It's difficult,
openings.
isn't it? We're trying to question Pep and actually saying, well, go on, you've got a real attacking player, and now he has that late chop. But I'd be pushing back, with VAR at times. Once you can get in those areas, it's so tough to get near him.
And talking of Pep Guardiola, lovely, perfect mention there, Michael, because we can hear the thoughts of him now.
I think before the game is not time to analyze how is our form in the past. We have to focus in the game we have to play tonight in few minutes. Of course, we have a good run, but that's the next one. When a team like they have a lot of quality in his players.
How do you sum up the challenge tonight from Everton? Because you look at their formation, they're putting Digne into midfield, it seems, and playing with 4 at the back, 4 centre-backs largely.
Yeah, we'll see how they move. You can play 5 in the back, they play 4 in the back, we'll see. We are not here to judge the decision for our colleague, my colleague Carlo, so we'll see how they play and try to impose our game.
Yes, you have Aguero and De Bruyne back in your lineup in the subs bench, but how's İlkay Gündoğan, who's not here?
He's much better. It's not a big issue, but to avoid risk today, we give him a few more days to recover. Hopefully against Arsenal or Mönchengladbach will be ready.
Everton have had good results against teams above them in the table, in and around them maybe, but struggled here in particular against lesser teams. It's hard to judge maybe an opponent like that, is it?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's a question for Carlo, I don't know why.
Well, he says it's one of those seasons that's just so unpredictable.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't know what's going to happen.
That's true, yeah. Many results, and during the season, every team had up and down, so yeah, that's true.
And you have Laporte and Diaz at central defence tonight, working on that partnership. You have options.
If you see the schedule that we had in November, December, January, most of the teams, but we are in FA Cup, in Carabao Cup until the end, in Champions League. So, and you see the schedule that we have in the end of February, and especially all March, when Premier League included 2 more games in that period, like is against Wolves and against Southampton. So we don't have 1 week off, so every 3 days, 4 days game, so everybody's going to play. So today the decision, and against Arsenal we're going to play new ones.
And victory takes you 10 points clear. That's a good incentive.
Now it's time to play. Now it's time to play. And after we'll see what happens after the game.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And that was the thoughts of our manager, Pep Guardiola. I love that. We all had a little giggle there. He won't be drawn into talking about 10 points clear at the top there yet, will he, Michael?
It's time to play, as he said. I'm not going to answer the question, am I, Natalie? I'm going to stay well away from him. We'll see how the game goes. We've got to set the team up. Listen, it's a block answer for him right before the game starts. He understands the Everton side that they're up against. They can be dangerous. He's confident in his side. You can see that. But he's brilliant at telling them how good the opposition are, what he's coming up against and what he's got to look out for. And it's brilliant listening to him talk, isn't it, about the 10 points, the structure, the amount of games that he's got. And he's always planning ahead. That's what he's doing. He's remarkable, the amount of detail that he puts into his side. And just interested to see now how they're going to go at this side and what type of system. Even listening there, trying to second guess Carlo, as he says, is what type of team he's going to put. Time will tell, because the formation could change.
Yeah, I do. I love his interviews this season, especially. They're so interesting. There's nuggets in all of his interviews, and he looks so happy and calm as well. But why wouldn't you be, Andy? Because we are on a streak now of 16 wins in a row in all competitions, 23 games in a row unbeaten. 16 wins is the best of any club in England, Germany, Spain, Italy or France so far this season. What a stat that is.
Yes, why would we sit here worried when you've just read that out? And it's remarkable, the standards game after game. You know, I just impressed every time I see and every time I listen to the manager, even more so. I'm not saying he makes it easy for his own players, but he takes ownership of the question, and he backs it off in the right way by not putting any pressure on his team. Saying that, yes, ideally will be 10 points, but we've got a game of football to play. And I think Carlo Ancelotti will be a lot more worried than Pep at this moment in time about the way the game could go. And he'll change it in-game, Pep, if he needs to. He'll look at the way they set up, and they have to try something different tonight, Everton. When you're coming up against a team and you look at the calibre of teams that we've played in that run, and we've not just beat them, we've dominated possession and we've ran all over them. We've had more opportunities to score, we've had more shots on target. The average is 60 to 65% possession in them games. So what's he thinking with obviously a great football brain going into this game tonight? How do I stop Manchester City tonight? And I'm sure there'll be something early on. There might be a shape there that catches us out, and Pep will see that, and he'll be thinking in game how he can now go and affect whatever they try and do. Great game of chess.
Absolutely. So right, not just beating, but outclassing Chelsea, Liverpool, United, and obviously Spurs at the weekend as well. It's the run of form that we are on just now is just incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible. Just looking at it, I think 1 goal conceded in the last 8, it's a penalty. That tells you everything. Conceded 14 league goals. I mean, that's remarkable in the Premier League, where we're seeing 6 put past people with no supporters and a totally different Premier League season. And there's so much being said about this controlled performances, how they control it now by delaying the amount of runs that they make, only sort of measured runs, do it when you've got to, with real intensity, with real purpose, but actually just having the ball. And you said the amount of possession is going to be key to how he does that. And now the games have become a little bit tighter. If Manchester City take the lead, then they're sort of seeing them just knock the ball around, and you want to go on and say, right, go and get another goal. But it's just remarkable to see another type and another setup. You've got to be evolving all the time and changing your tactics. That's where Pep's excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're being honest, there was at points at the start of this season where there were people that were questioning Pep, and what he did was come back and, like you say, evolve the team and evolve the style of play. And an incredible stat that I read today as well is he's evolved the team to the point, Andy, that the 6 most used outfield players in the 18-19 season, where the last time we won the title, of course, there's only one, which is Raheem Sterling, who still ranks in the top 6 now this season. So in that short period of time, he has truly evolved and developed this team, which we said earlier is a really young team as well. So just, to echo what Michael said, he's just a phenomenal manager, isn't he?
We spoke earlier on about Everton's identity and not sure where they go. There's a clear identity with City. So whatever players are coming in, they're coming through the ranks all the way through from the 18s to the 23s. The patterns are the same. So they're just dropping in. And yes, we're bringing in very good players to go and play that way. But for me, the clarity is... It's clear, even when I'm watching the games, you start seeing movements up the pitch and you think that's not just off the cuff. These are movements that are constructed to create openings later on in the phase of play. And he's been very,
Andy,
very...
how do you think as a player that they've been able to take this information on? So we were given so much when we played, and as you're getting a little bit older, some more, and it was developing. As these young players now, they're given so much. Do you feel there's still a way to do that, or do you need to simplify it? Because some can handle it, and as you know, some players can only take on 3 or 4 points. But with Pep's side, you're probably thinking there's so many, isn't there? So many ways to go.
I think it's clear, his instructions. I think the players believe in what he's telling them. You're obviously seeing other teams now, United, Chelsea, they're trying to copy what he does, the patterns from the back, and you see them get so far. And then the keeper will kick it under pressure, or you'll get the press right, and you'll stop them getting out. But with City, without jumping ahead, the pass from Edison is part of the pattern that are being played in front of us, because they're all blocked off, which means they must be available something further up the pitch. And City, it's been clear now for many seasons. It's clear in what he does. The players believe in him, and they obviously have the quality to go and do it.
I love how you say Edison's pass there as well, because it absolutely was a pass. He wasn't just taking a goal kick. He knew, he could see what was going on. For anybody that's watching that doesn't obviously have the footballer's brain, when you talk about patterns, Andy, what are you seeing when you're watching in terms of patterns?
I just think there's movements, and the reason that you're playing the ball from your keeper to your centre half to a split, you're trying to create maybe a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3 further up the pitch. There's a reason that he does it. I just see a lot of teams further down the leagues are trying to do it, and there's no reason behind it. It's clear what Pep wants.
It's the trigger, isn't it? Yeah. They know full well that when it rules out to Emmerich Laporte, for instance, they know where the next 2 options are, and the reason why that is. So if one player gets drawn to it on the press, then they know it's option 2. They're already aware of it, and then someone empties that space, so the midfielder will move forward, leave that space for someone else to come in, so just running the runners away. So it's that movement all the time, and that's where it starts with Edison. So they draw the team out and they play over that press, and it's brilliant, and then they go 1 for 1 or 2 for 1, and that's where
Edison is the key.
He has to be comfortable, doesn't he?
Edison has to be, and he's unique in what he does. Like a quarterback in American football, he's dictating the play from him, and he's so calm and composed, even under pressure.
I think he just gets bored, and he says, "You've got to bring me in. Give me one of those patterns of play, Pep. I need one. I need to do something."
The team get the perfect press, and they'll get a 4-on-4 against your press, and then you'll look up the pitch. Now he's already seen that. Now, if we can get a ball and hit our striker, Bruyne will be coming into a pocket or whatever, and we're out. And now they've left themselves 3-on-3. So do you press or do you sit in? That's the ultimate question that every manager has playing against City. Do I let them have the ball and come to the final third and defend, or do we try and press them there and get that? If we get that wrong, we're in all sorts of trouble. And it's like I say, it's brilliant to sit and watch it.
Perfect time as well. Let's have a little look at and enjoy that pass again. Like I said, definite pass. Ederson's assist from the Spurs game, and we've got it with this wonderful 360 technology camera angles that you can see as well. And the fact that he is seeing that so far away, so far down the pitch as well, is just even more incredible. And then, Michael, if you want to touch on the finish as well.
Well, the finish is great, and when it's rolled back, I don't know if we can see that again from start to finish. It's Gundogan's run from the left-hand side, so he's already aware of it. They know when Ederson gets the ball, his run goes inside the centre back, so the other one's square on. Sanchez is square, not seeing it, and at that point he's too late. Once he's not realised the run's in behind, but that touch is good. I mean, the clip keeps getting played again. I mean, he's on the floor trying to head it away. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? And
Can I put Michael on the spot?
Yes,
because he put me on the spot earlier on. What's the key moment in that whole passage of play that creates the goal?
What, the run?
Not from the whole passage. What was the key moment?
Well, I think when Ederson takes the touch, he lifts his head up, he can see the pitch, so he already knows as he opens up that Gundogan's on his way. He already knows, he's already planned it for me.
For me, if we can see it again, there's a shoulder barge just before the foot. So if we move the ball forward now, and if we can get it from the angle, he actually knocks him. So there's a little shove which puts him off. Now that creates the moment, and for me, he's got the strength. He takes it across his body, but the angles, I've watched it many times now, and there's just a little bit of strength. So Gundogan again, his strength is incredible. Puts him off balance. That manages to square him up, because if he doesn't get that little shove, that little touch and body contact,
he's already
before,
backtracking, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's great. It's great when you see it. That's the key moment for me. Is that little bit of strength, puts him off balance, and then. He did it I think the game before, where I think Cancelo put him in and he took it across his body from right to left. Again, incredible gift to be able to move it both feet comfy without blowing smoke. Michael had two fantastic feet. He could do it, move the ball right and left, and Gundogan can do it. And for me, he's the best in world football, right and left-footed.
We're going to make him a cuppa.
Get the kettle on.
We're all friends. We love each other on this show, really. Talking about Gundogan there, though, that is a man with an insane amount of natural talent. I was fortunate enough that I did an interview with Gundogan a few weeks ago, and he talked about the fact that he didn't actually join a professional football club till he was 15, which to me is insane when you see how young they are taking kids in these days. He has such a natural talent for me. In terms of players you've played with in your career, Michael, who comes to mind when you think of natural born talent?
Well, there's so many. I mean, I played for so many clubs. I've been fortunate to we've been blessed really to be some brilliant players. But early on in my career, I look back and I say, and I've often said this about ability. We're talking talent, not the most successful in the end. But Giorgio Gnacchi had an amazing amount of talent. He had a low centre of gravity. He was really strong, very, very thick quads. He could keep the ball. He could hold you. And we talk about that awareness on the half turn, having been comfortable with somebody around him. He could do magical things. He should have went on and to do better in his career that he did. But we've seen some real flashes at Main Road, didn't we, of some amazing ability.
He was an incredibly naturally talented player, wasn't he, Gnacchi, Andy?
He was, again, another player who very, very easy to show him onto a certain way. But when you've mastered the feint and the way he could change the sway of the ball with obviously that low centre of gravity, it was impossible to stop him, because you never knew when it was coming. And the tricks and the body movements that bought you or bought him half a yard. And he walked past players, and of course he was worshipped here.
Oh, yeah. I was 11 when Giorgio Gnacchi signed for City, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Do you have a player that you think of, Andy, that you played with that just had an immense amount of natural talent?
When I was asked the question, obviously I think back to the Blackburn squad that won the Premier League with Shearer, Sutton and Batty, Wilcox. And there wasn't anything for me that really stood out as unique, as in that kind of that quality of player. But when I come to City, and it's nothing to do with Manchester City, I was a centre half who was an out-and-out winner of the ball, a tackler, but I loved watching flair players. To this day, I still like wingers. I enjoy, of course, I watch the nuts and bolts of a centre-half, but nothing excites me more than when Mahrez gets the ball or Sterling one-on-ones. That's what I love seeing. And Ian Bishop, very, very quickly when I came in, I realised that he was a unique footballer, and it made my life very easy. You know, I just won the ball and passed it straight to him, and that was the most thing a centre half wants, is to be able to win the ball and a simple pass, somebody wanting it. And you know, we trained in sessions. He was the first pick in every team in the keep ball sessions or small-sided games because you wanted him in the team. But I always think that maybe his talent was held back a little bit because of the English way of playing football. I think if he'd gone to the continent, played in Italy or played in Spain, I think he would have I think you would have seen even more, because I saw things in training that we weren't seeing in games because of the structure, the way Joe set the team up, and the way we played. He wasn't allowed to do it, but there was moments he was magnificent.
Very intelligent footballer, wasn't he? Yeah. Great guy as well. Good fun around the dressing room. And my memory, I've said this before on the show, I think, about Ian Bishop when we talked about other people. I was playing for Sheffield United against Manchester City. It was 1-0. I scored a goal against City. And Ian Bishop was my opposition, my midfield sort of person I've got to go up against. And when I'd scored, he realised what the situation I'd been in, and I had to leave to go to Sheffield United. And he actually come up to me in the game and said, "Well done, mate, you deserve that." And I was taken back. So that just tells you it's not about just being a good footballer, it's about being a good man as well.
He is an absolute pleasure of a man to be around as well. I've been fortunate enough to interview Ian Bishop a few times, and he's a riot, isn't he? He's hilarious, Andy. Was he like that?
Just fantastic in the change room, like Michael's just said. You know, it was a character. He was strong, but the game's changed. You know, midfielders are looked after a lot more now than what they were in that day. He would receive the ball in tight areas, get himself out of trouble, show quality when you were able to kick somebody. And, you know, we're going back now, 20 years, and the game has totally changed. And, seeing him on the pitches now and seeing the quality of what we've got, I think he's the one player I played with, I think, could slot into the Manchester City squad we have now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see him playing in this age, absolutely. Michael, was there any players other than George King-Clatsey that you played with that you could see in training that they had an incredible natural talent, but they just didn't maybe focus and apply it, and you think, I wish you'd have just worked harder?
I think there's so many of them at every level, at every football club. You see youngsters going through, and even from an early age, 15, 16, you're compared to, or you did well against that particular talent, and they don't go on and play any games. It's remarkable how many do that. As I started to drop towards the end of my career, I'm thinking, this player should not be here. They shouldn't be in the Championship. They'd be in the Premier League. And then a couple of weeks later, you start to think, where is he? Where's he gone? He's a training ground player that takes so much to be out there on the grass with the stadium and doing it week in, week out. So we talked about natural talents in Georgia King-Clatsey, pure natural talent. But these guys now, the professionalism, the amount of commitment, dedication, knowledge that they put into it, it's a totally different ball game, and it takes the whole package, not just ability.
And we are very blessed to have a whole world-class team full of people with natural ability and who work extremely hard as well, clearly. And that's part of the reason why I love this club so much. And another reason why I love this club so much is that it's not just about football. City in the community do some amazing work. Truly an incredible setup that they've got there. They do so many amazing things. And currently they're really looking at the mental well-being of the children and young adults across Manchester. They've launched a new programme that has been funded by Citizens Giving for Recovery. And recently we spoke to ex-City goalkeeper and now CITC ambassador Alex Williams about the project. And Aoife Mannion and Gemma Bonner have lent their support by making some phone calls to some local children.
Obviously, we're going through a difficult time with COVID at the moment, and one of the things we want to do as a football club and a foundation is ensure we can help aid recovery as quickly as possible. We realise the targeted groups who might need support is 14 to 25-year-olds. So we've set this mental health programme up. We've used the power of football, some of our football projects, which we've condensed into working with very small groups so we can try and identify any issues.
Hi everyone.
When you were training to be where you are now, did you ever lose hope and want to give up? And if so, why?
I would say, yeah, probably a lot actually. I think as players, we actually get quite nervous sometimes when we play, because you're playing against really good players, and sometimes you think, gosh, like, am I going to be good enough today? And that's why we have to train a lot and practice a lot so that we can be confident when we play. And so I always thought when I was younger that when I actually got better and better and better, I would get less nervous, but mostly it's the same. I still get nervous and I still have some little doubts, and that's why we have to take training so seriously so that when you do get to go and play, you feel confident and happy.
How do you keep yourself healthy mentally while keeping yourself healthy physically?
I'll let you into a little secret. I've actually got 2 diaries. So I have one for kind of like my life diary, and then I actually have a training diary. So it's something that I find if I write things down, it has, well, I'm quite forgetful, so I usually forget to do stuff if I don't. So I usually find that writing things down, it does help me kind of plan a more efficient time, because it is, especially, I mean, in today, it's quite restricted. And I think it helps me feel like in control of what I can do, and what I need to get in to make sure that I'm in a good place, both mentally and physically. So that's one thing that I've recently started doing.
And I just personally want to say on behalf of everyone at CRTC, not just from me, we're really grateful for the efforts of everybody connected to Manchester City Football Club.
Oh, we love you, Alex Williams. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to Aoife and Gemma as well. And just City in the community. We just love you and everything that you are doing. Also, we love our official supporters clubs. Sometimes they are close. Sometimes they are far away, and we love them all. It's a bit of a closer one tonight as we are celebrating the supporters club from Wnrh and District who meet up in Wigan.
The branch started when a few of us in the area who knew each other as City fans decided to meet at the Delft Tavern, which is run by a lovely blue named Ian Roscoe. We put the feelers out and more people turned up than probably expected, and enough to form a branch, and the branch has just grown from strength to strength there. An interesting fact about the branch is that we formed in the same year as local football team Wigan Athletic beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final. So maybe not the greatest year to start the branch, but everything's got a lot better from there on. I'd like to speak for myself and everybody at the branch that we wish best wishes and stay safe to everybody at the club and to all the other supporters branches across the UK and the world, the globe, and up the Blues. Back to the studio.
Yes, up the Blues. Thank you very much, Wnrh and District. We love our official supporters club. A big love to you all around the world, and of course the ones that are super close to us as well, like Wigan. So kickoff is really close now. It's less than 10 minutes away. So let's have a quick recap on your team news for this evening's game against Everton. So in goal, it is Ederson. Then you've got a back four of Walker, Diaz, Laporte and Cancelo. Moving into midfield, you've got Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and then up front, you've got Sterling, Mahrez and Gabriel Jesus. And of course, the big news as well on the subs bench, you've got Kevin De Bruyne tonight and Sergio Aguero, who both have made the subs bench for tonight's game. So that is your 11 for this evening's game. Kick-off in less than 10 minutes. About 8 minutes now. So not long at all. And the Everton team news for tonight as well. So a couple of interesting names that you might be looking out for here as well for the Everton team. So in goal, you've got Pickford, then Mina, Keane, Holgate, and then Godfrey, Davies, Decourt, and Digne, Sigurdsson, Iwobi and Richarlison. So Josh King is on the subs bench again. And also on the subs bench, a name that'll bring lots of smiles to your faces is, of course, Fabian Delph. So that is the team news for tonight. It is about 7 minutes until kick-off now. And my favourite part of the show is coming up. Now, Andy's been on the show 3 times and he's got this right 3 times. It is, of course, Guess the Blue. Michael, do you know what your record is on this currently?
No, I don't know it. It's not great.
I think
Andy's got to go first, hasn't he? He's going to win.
Well, Andy, generally, it comes up, and before we've even had a chance to explain what it is, he's already got the name in his head. So this is Guess the Blue. We take a picture of a former City player and we blur it up a little bit, and then you have a chance to guess who it is. And at half-time, we'll read out some of your guesses. So you can tweet us using hashtag WNRH, and then at full-time, we'll tell you who it is. Right, Andy Morrison, let's see if you can get it in. Oh, I know who that is. Come on.
Wow.
Crikey. Oh, I love that man. Right, let's see who got it in the absolute quickest. We want you to tweet us in hashtag WNRH with hashtag 2 seconds and the name of the person or however long it took you. Definitely got that?
I think so.
Definitely got
I think
that?
I've got half a chance.
Producer Tom, you need to try harder on us. Come on, challenge Andy Morrison next time he's on. Give him somebody really, really obscure. But we'll read out your guesses at half-time, and then at full-time as well, we will, of course, tell you who it is. So, with kick-off just about 6 minutes away, guys, let's just have a kind of summarised feeling. How are you feeling about the game tonight, Michael? What are you expecting?
I'm feeling really positive. It's against an Everton side at home, which have had mixed fortunes. They'll be feeling fragile. Just reading Carlo Ancelotti's notes there saying, so, and how do you say that to your team? We expect Manchester City control the possession. All the possession to City. He's changed personnel. He's possibly gone to this back three that we're looking at. Pickford's going to be one. He's come back since the 30th of January with a rib injury. So, lots of interesting facts. But it's, again, everybody can do what they want to try and block this Manchester City side out. There's enough on the pitch with the selection they've got. We've got the number 9. We haven't got the false 9 in Gabriel Jesus today. And let's see Phil Ford, and let's see another real positive performance from him. So really looking forward to another statement match. And could it be 10 points clear for this City side?
Oh, I like that statement match. That's exciting. Andy, who are you looking forward to seeing tonight in particular?
It's everyone. It's the package. We'll dominate the ball. I expect it to be 65-70% possession. We will create 5 or 6 good chances in the first half and probably have 4 or 5 shots. If we score 2 of them, it'll be an easy evening. If we don't, and the longer the game goes on, it becomes more difficult. And I always think the results have always been a reflection of our finishing. When we've been really sharp in them first 20 minutes, we put games to bed and they become very easy. The longer the games go on, it becomes a bit more difficult. But I'm confident of that victory.
So we can see the players coming out now. Quick final prediction from you, Andy. What score do you think it's going to be?
I'm going both teams to score, and I'm going for a 3-1 City win.
3-1. Michael, what are you having?
I've got to try and keep with these clean sheets, surely. I think it's going to be a tight one. I think if Manchester City get the early goal, they could be patient and in control, like we said. 1-0 Manchester City.
Lovely. Right, I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I'm going to say 2-0 to City. But to be honest with you, I'll just be happy with 3 points. 3 points for this elusive game in hand that we've had since the start of the season, which would take us 10 points clear at the top of the league. Fingers crossed. We will be back here at half-time giving you some instant analysis. Right, enjoy the game, Blues.
Ball in. Silva will get this across. It's hit on the body by Leroy Sané.
Gabriel Jesus. And that's it. This time it is it. David Silva curled in the penalty area. There it is. There's the opener.
Kick towards the back post, and this time City convert. Gabriel Jesus. Lovely ball, Jesus, and still brilliant goal. Absolutely stunning goal from Gabriel Jesus.